welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing 4 DIY wall art pieces. So for this first DIY, I'm going to be using one of these Dollar Tree pennant signs, the one that has like the triangle cut out of the bottom. And I'm using some of this blue-green paper from DIYS. And I'm going to trace the back of this sign onto the back of this paper. Then I'm going to cut it out with a pair of scissors, and then I'll attach it to the front of the sign with some hot glue. Next, I'll be pulling off these paper letters that I cut out on a vinyl cutting machine, and this I just cut out from a piece of cactus scrapbooky paper that I liked and I thought it would show up on the blue. And then once I do that, I'll be using some Mod Podge on the back of them to attach them to the blue paper, and then I'll do a little bit of Mod Podge on top of all of it. And there was some bubbling actually when I was doing this, but I gave it a couple of hours to dry and glued it down a little more, and all the bubbles were gone. So next, I'm going to be using one of these 4x6 stretched canvases from Dollar Tree and some of Dollar Tree's cactus wall decals. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open both of them up, take off all the packaging, and then I'm going to flip the canvas horizontally and then put on the wall decals. And this is how they look when the wall decals are on the canvas. Next, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that they have good contact onto the canvas, and then give them at least one heavy coat of this satin Catalina Mist spray paint. Next, I went ahead and removed all the wall decals, and I'm really glad I was careful when I was doing this, because I realized that the two right ones had bled a little bit, which is why you want to make sure that you have really good contact. But before I removed them, I thought that they looked really pretty just like the same color. So I went ahead and I stuck them back on, and I'm really glad I did that because I think it looks so pretty just being like the same color. And after I stuck them back on, I went ahead and did an extra coat of spray paint just to finish it off. And here is how it looks when it's all done hanging up on my wall. Next, I'm going to be using some of this Varathane wood stain, and I'm also going to be using one of these Hobby Lobby wooden P letters, and I'm going to go ahead and stain it, and then once it's stained and has had a chance to dry, I'm going to use some of these, they call them brass, but they look like gold to me, 3/4 inch nails, and using my hammer, I'm going to hammer them about every 1/2 inch all around the edges of my wood P letter. And these nails were from Lowe's. So next I'm going to be using some of this pink embroidery floss, and to start out I'm going to go ahead and pick the starting point or one of the nails. I'm going to use this corner nail, and I'm going to go ahead and tie my floss in a knot. I'm doing a double knot to make sure that it's nice and secure around my nail. Then I'm going to take my floss and weave it in and out, back and forth around all these nails until there's about an even amount of thread on the surface. You just want to make sure that on the corner or where the thread changes its direction, like a right angle, you wrap the thread around the head of that corner nail, just to make sure that the thread stays secure. And if I ever came across a nail that was a little loose, I just go ahead and tack it down quick. And this was actually so much fun for me because I could just go anywhere, go everywhere, weave it in and out on the outside edges, or go in the middle, back and forth. And it was a really fun project to do. And this is how it looks when it's all done. I love it. I'm definitely going to be hanging it up for a long time. So now we're straight into the fourth and final DIY. For this one, I'm going to start out using another one of Dollar Tree's canvases. This is the 8x8 square size. And I went ahead and removed all the packaging, and then I'm taking some of this cactus fabric. I think I got it from Joann's. I'm not sure about that. Any fabric or even paper will do. And then I'm going to go ahead and I cut out an approximate shape so that it would fit onto my square, and I would try to pick one out that didn't have too many creases in it. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue it to the back of my canvas, just folding it over, pulling it tight, gluing it, and I did this on all four sides. Once the fabric was all glued nice and tight to the back of my canvas, I'm going to be using another sheet of scrapbooking paper from Joann's. This is like a pretty purple, it has a little bit of a sheen to it. And at first I was going to cut out a square that was a little bit smaller than the shape of my canvas. I was going to trace it and then cut inside the line a bit. But once I cut out that square, I decided instead to use a strip of paper. So I'm going to go ahead, and after I cut out that square, I decided instead to use, as you can see here, this little strip. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out that strip and then glue it onto the back of my canvas. And I glued it by putting it in the middle and then folding the edges into the back and then using hot glue to attach it. And because the paper wasn't used to being bent that way, I went ahead and used some Dollar Tree's craft clamps to hold it in place. Next up, I'll be using some of these wooden letters. I believe I get these from Hobby Lobby, and I picked out the words "Be Kind." And I'm going to go ahead and use some of this Waverly White Chalk paint, which you can get from Walmart, and a paintbrush. I'm going to go ahead and give these a good coat of white paint. Once they were all painted and dry, it was time to hot glue them onto my sign. I'm I'm going to go ahead and line them up approximately where I want them, and then using my hot glue gun, attach them. And all I had to do was add a beaded hanger using some small wooden beads and some twine, attach it to the back of my canvas, and this is how it looks when it's all done. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!